So what we actually want to do is make sure that these are the right size. Take both your bits like this, and let's just cut off those bits of thread. Put one inside the other, because that will give it a double lined effect. Don't worry, the seams will bulge a little bit at this point because you haven't done anything with them, but they won't bulge in the end. And then just with it like that, just try it on. If it's for you, try it on yourself. If it's for your child, try it on your child. Just to see how it's fitting. Now this looks quite tall, but that's okay, because what you can do with a hat that's quite tall, if it's too tall, you can always fold it up once the person has got it on their head. But you want to make sure it is actually going to go on the head. So try it first. I've just tried the hat on, and it was ever so slightly a bit tight on the width, and it was very pointy on the top. So what I'm doing now, I've done this side, is I'm just letting it out a little bit. This is why I always allow plenty of seam allowance, so that I can do some adjustments. So I'll just show you what I've just done. I've already done this side, I'm just going to do this side, and I've still got seam allowance. If I needed to take it out any further, then I could actually still do that just a little bit more if I wanted to. But I'm going to show you this side. So I'm just going to put it, I'm not going to undo any stitching until I've put in the new stitching. It really won't take very long, because we've only done a straight stitch. That's why I always suggest with things like this, where you might have to measure, you know, check them on your subject before you do any overlocker stitching and things like that, because that just takes a lot of time. This will save you so much time. If you get it wrong, a straight stitch is so much easier to unpick. And then once you're happy, overlock as much as you like, or zigzag or whatever. So I'm just setting the needle just so it's slightly to the side. So actually this part of the foot here is going to be in line with the old stitch, and that means that we're going to go just over to the other side, and I'm literally just going to follow the original stitch line. With that foot. So that foot is going to be, that side of the foot is going to be my guide. I'm literally just going to line up that stitching with that part of the foot. That's all. And that will just take out the hat just slightly. You can measure all you like, but at the end of the day, people are not exact, aren't they? Now once I get to sort of this point here where I'm just coming to, I'm actually going to curve in ever so slightly, just to make it a more rounded top than a pointy top. So I'm not measuring this, I'm just sort of taking it in a little bit. I can take it in a bit more in a minute if I think it's still not quite the right shape. I'm going to go all the way to the edge. I'm not going all the way around, just doing that half, cut it off. Check what I think. That looks a bit better. Okay, so now I'm going to unpick not all the original stitching, just up to where the stitching crosses. So to do that, I'm going to turn the material inside out, well, the right way around in a minute. But first, I'm going to take my little scissors, and I'm going to find a bit of the thread stitch, and I'm just going to put them underneath and snip. Then when I turn it the other way, it actually then creates a hole, and from there you can pick up the stitches and just snip them, and then pull apart, and it not too hard because you don't want to tear it, but it just pulls the stitches so that they're visible, and then you can just cut them away. It shouldn't take too long. You can get stitch rippers. They look like this. And it works in the same way. You just put it underneath the stitch. It's quite difficult to do with some fabric like polar fleece, because it sort of has little loops anyway that stick out from the fabric. So I don't use that because I always catch the wrong bit. I just do use my little scissors. So that's what I'm going to do for the next few seconds. I'm just going to unpick the original stitching, just up to where the new. I'm nearly at the top of where I want to unpick, so I'm just going to show you, because I don't want to go beyond here, because this is actually then we have like the new line coming along. So I just want to go up to here where the two lines join. So now I'm going to actually just go under these threads and just snip them this side, and automatically that means that they'll undo. So if I now get this bit of thread, go, that's that side done, and then do one up at the top here. And that should mean now this side, there we go, just pulls away, and then trim that off. Okay, so that's that one done. I'm just going to go and check that that is right before I do the other part. This one went on much better with that slightly wider size, and it looked much better. It looked more domed on the top. So now I'm just going to do the second section. So this bit exactly the same. I might take this bit out slightly more, I'm not sure, but I'm certainly going to do a similar job. Okay, so to join our two pieces together, you need one inside out like this, okay, so we can see the stitching, and the other you need to turn so that you can't see the stitching. You can see the seam, obviously the seam fold, but you can't see the stitching. Okay, you can see bits of thread from where I did an awful unpicking apparently. Where's that bit? That's annoying me. Just trim that off. Okay, so you want to push this one around the right way. This one then goes inside the one that's inside out. And you want to join up, remembering that these were cut exactly the same, you want to join up the bottom edge with your pins or your clips. Don't worry if it feels bulky inside, we'll deal with that in a minute. We're going to deal with this first. Now this is obviously a pattern piece of material. Some people be really fussing about the fact the pattern doesn't line up and stuff. I'm really not that bothered. If you're more bothered, then feel free to spend, obviously, as long as you want lining up the pattern. But it doesn't bother me whether the dots are exactly joined up, and it won't make any difference to keeping a head nice and warm over the winter. So there we go. Oh, try not to drop them. The thing I really love about these clips is they're really easy to hold, so if you have like your kids helping you or anything, then it means they're not going to end up with lots of pricks and bleeding and cuts and things from pins, and it's just easier, and actually they do grip very, very well. Also, they don't leave any marks in the material, unlike pins which could pucker the material. Some of the pins I've got are very old and have been used a lot, so they tend to sometimes leave little marks and things. So these are working much better. Okay, just going to trim those threads off because they are annoying me. Let's get this onto the machine and start to sew. So we're going to move that thread back there a little bit. We're going to start with one edge. So I'm going to take that clip off there, but keep it clipped with my hands, and we're going to put this edge underneath there. Now, I'm not going to use my magnetic seam guide because I'm going to actually follow the side of the foot so that I can line this bit up with this as I go. Always remember to backstitch. Now we're not going to go all the way to the end where we started. We're going to stop just as we get to this seam here. We're going to stop just actually where my old seam was here. Just enough room to allow us to pull it all through, and then we'll hand stitch it later to join it all at the end. stitch. Hopefully I've left a big enough gap, so I'm going to trim up some of this material with my rotary cutter. Okay, so we've got lots of material here, so I'm literally just going to cut. I haven't even brought my chopping board over, my cutting board. I'm just going to cut straight, just cut all that excess off, as we know we probably don't need it. If we do, oh well, it's gone. Now, let's see if we've got enough space here. Might just take out a few stitches. Got a little bit carried away at the end there. That's better. See if we can actually pull the hat through. Take a few more out. You want there to be the smallest gap possible. At the same time, you've obviously got to be able to get the material around the right way. So you're just literally going to do this. You're just going to push it all through the hole. It's going to be really difficult because it's not going to want to fit through, but you're going to take control of the situation. Right, so you should end up with a shape like this, okay? And very simply, you just open it up, push one half inside the other, give it a little shake. Make sure you push it all out. Now what I am going to do, because I had to make that hole quite big, which was really annoying, is first I'm going to hand stitch that hole together, and then I'm going to top stitch around this bit here. Okay, I'm going to top stitch around here. I'll show you how to do that in a second. But first we need to hand stitch this hole together. So I get a small needle, like this one, some thread from the machine, of just doing a sort of loop stitch, going through one side, coming back out, pulling, but I'm not doing this, I'm not going all the way through, I'm literally just catching this bit and this bit. I'm sure it has a special name, I don't know what the name is. If you know, you can comment below. Okay, so that's the hole sewn up. It's not overly visible. I'm just going to tie off my thread. Some people like to just do a simple knot there. sort of have my own knot that I like to do. Okay, right, so we're getting there, we're almost there, almost ready to have the model try it on. But the last thing we want to do is we want to just top stitch the seam on the top, okay? We just want to put a nice stitch going all the way along, and that will just keep it really nice and neat. Okay, I've clipped all the way around now. So now I'm just going to do a really neat top stitch on this. I want it to be quite near to the edge though. Don't want it to be too big a thing. I'll put my needle in, take the pin out. Okay, I think we are ready to go. But I am going to use my magnetic thing because it's such a small seam allowance. My actual presser foot is not going to work as my guide, so I'm just going to put that there. It's just slightly inside. Okay, forward for a few, back. Now we can go. Remove that one. Right, had to have a quick break. Hubby came in. Okay, and now all we need to do is to get rid of all these little bits of thread that are hanging around. Okay, now to try it and check that it still is going to fit. There you have it, a lovely warm polar fleece hat in red and white polka dot. Does it feel comfy? Does it feel warm? Fantastic. So when you make yours, I'm sure you'll have a little bit more time than I did. I sort of rushed mine a little bit. But there we go, a nice, simple, easy to make hat. Really, really worthwhile doing. Particularly if you have a child who can't wear the ones in the shops. Thanks for watching.